G'day and welcome back to another episode of the H1 Shootout. Simon Orchard, Adam Clifford and Kate Allman joining you as always to digest what has been another big week of the Sultana Brand Hockey 1 League. All roads, of course, leading to the main event in Bendigo on November 19 and 20. And our playoff picture's starting to emerge, guys. We're starting to get to the real business end of the Hockey 1 season. Let's dive straight into it today with what caught your eye. And Cliffo, some very interesting scenes going on in Canberra on Thursday night. Tell us more.
Yeah, there was a great crowd turned out for Canberra's first home game, Orch, and they found plenty of ways to get involved, let me tell you. Blink and you may have missed it on the broadcast, but move over PM and check out the actual most famous man in Canberra at the moment, Davis Atkin. And he's riding high on the popularity wave sparked by my article on the Hockey One website, Orch, so I'm taking credit. But here he is, footage of him signing autographs for the Chill faithful after their great win at home. Now, they're a crafty lot in the nation's capital, so when they run out of paper, don't worry, they get creative. And those starstruck Chill fans use their chests and even their foreheads, anything they could get hold of to collect the signatures of their hockey idols. Now, Orch, staying on the topic of fan engagement, you may have also caught this very eager Chill fan in the crowd who took the opportunity to get on national television while Bish and Hoppy were being interviewed. And I'll tell you what, Orch, that Aaron Hopkins must be a slow learner because he certainly hasn't learned a single thing from when I snuck in behind him to score for the Tassie Tigers in 04. So that's what caught my eye for this week, guys.
Oh, nice. I love it. Those Davis Atkins scenes reminded me a bit of Happy Gilmore back in the day when there was all sorts of fans gathering around the golf course. And good to see you haven't forgotten, like an elephant, mate, forgetting remembering about that Aaron Hopkins goal. Nice stuff. And look, that article, I should say as well, publicly, I know I messaged you privately, wonderful article, mate. Kate, I know you echo the thoughts of me here, but such a brave guy to come out and talk about something like that, and a real trailblazer for not only the sport, but for a lot of young kids out there. So wonderful to see the fans getting around him. Kate, you've turned your attention to a few thieves amongst the Hockey 1 League. What are you going to talk about today?
Yeah, call the cops, Orch. There are a few goals thieved from the other teams this weekend. I guess this is predictable. As a striker, I love to see strikers pickpocketing goals. And there are a couple this weekend that I was commentating that I couldn't believe. They were amazing to watch. So I'm just going to show you the replays just because these are the highlights of my weekend. We've all seen how electric this Sultana Brand Hockey 1 League can be. And what I loved was I thought this was the goal of the season here. Aiden Dooley, Holy Dooley, check it out. The reaction of myself and Sam Hargraves in commentary. He earned himself this nickname immediately, so thanks for that.
Aiden Dooley, Holy Dooley.
Thank me later. And then the following night on Friday, we saw none other than Jack Hollywood Holland come out with this play against New South Wales Pride. I suggested that nickname on Instagram. Adelaide Fire have liked it. I've got the approval from them, waiting on Mr. Hollywood to give his official sign-off, but I'm putting that in as a submission for his nickname. So great stuff by Hollywood Holland. I loved it.
Yeah, a couple of great nicknames as well. I reckon Kate Hollywood might have something to say about that. Former hockey-roo, of course, and you didn't even mention your girl, Hannah Cullum-Sanders. I know she didn't score, but she pinched the pocket of Rachel Frusher over there in Perth and was oh so close to knocking another one in. We'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later on.
I've got more to say on that, Orch. Don't you worry.
I won't steal your thunder. I'll finish off with what caught my eye. And gee whiz, this is a ripper. Aaron Zalewski, the captain of the Perth Thundersticks and Australian Kookaburra, is a good, solid country boy. Or so I thought, carrying on like an absolute pork chop over the weekend at national teammate Daniel Beale's wedding. Just have a look at this footage here. This is footage of Zalewski, a.k.a. the Moose, rolling through his own highlight reel while sitting at Daniel Beale's wedding. Poor other guests who had to sit next to him and go through this stuff. Basically, have a listen and just hear what he has to say about himself here.
This is my best goal I've ever scored in my whole career. We're going to whip it up. H1 League.
There you go. For most people, a wedding's a chance to celebrate love, to enjoy catching up with old friends, to have a dance, maybe have a few drinks, but not for the Moose. He took the opportunity to show everyone just how good he is. And look, I guess the flip side of that is how good that our players are talking about the Hockey 1 League, even when they're not involved. They missed the game, obviously, for the wedding on the weekend. But there you go. Aaron Zalewski ripping out his own highlights at the table. I think that was sent in by a very very nice guest, Hillary Belt, soon to be Hillary Belt. She sent that to me. So, Moose, if you're chasing after someone, she's the one you got to track down. But come on, mate, showing your highlights at a wedding. You're better than that. That's what caught our eye this week. We dive into fact or fiction this week with some very nice conundrums for our audience to engage with. Basically, all we do is pose a question, then it's up to us to debate whether or not it's fact or fiction. Now, I'll start. I'll direct my first question to you, Kate. Now, Kate, this challenge by Alicia Power on your girl, Hannah Cullum-Sanders, should have been a penalty stroke instead of a penalty corner. Fact or fiction?
All right, Orch, there's been plenty of opinions tossed around about this one already, and I'm sure all the players have their own when they went into the quarter-time huddle. This happened just before quarter-time. But let's take a look at this replay. I believe it is fact. Hannah Cullum-Sanders deserves a stroke for this. Look at this replay. Now, I was talking about pickpocketing goals before. Hannah gets this brilliant steal that would have been probably my favourite goal of the season if she pulled it off. She's carried the ball, she's dragged left, and she goes back to her four-stick, and I reckon she's beaten Alicia Power and would still have possession. She would have it on her four-stick side, an easy goal, had it not been for the goalkeeper taking out her legs. And this is my girl, Cullum-Sanders. As you mentioned, I bought stocks in this woman. She's exciting. I need to protect her. And so, to my eyes, I reckon this would have been a penalty stroke. She's fallen over and lost her stick. Some might say an air swing. I say she lost control because she was taken out illegally. What do you reckon, Orch?
Look, I'm going to have to go with fiction, only because I was sitting at a function watching this play out. The person immediately to my left said penalty stroke straight away. The person to my right, they put their hands up in the air for a stroke as well. And I just said, hang on, let's take a look at the replay. From where I sat, and I agree with this still after watching it a couple more times, Alicia Power makes the save. The ball bounces off her pad, bounces in behind, and her gravity takes her backwards. It's an incidental bit of contact with Hannah Cullum-Sanders. And I just think penalty corner, and I don't agree with the umpires a lot. I think penalty corner was the perfect decision. It was a difficult one. I know it looked a little bit ugly. If Alicia Power didn't get a touch on that ball at all, of course it's a penalty stroke, but she made the save, and then she can't disappear. So for me, I reckon the umpire got it right, but I know there's a lot of other people out there that'll think penalty stroke. Cliffo, you got any takes?
My hands are raised, Orch. I want to see more goals in this Hockey One league, and that's a penalty stroke for mine.
All right. Well, look.
Thank you, Cliffo, the voice of reason. We can rely on Orch to be the devil's advocate, but we have Cliffo to speak reason to us. So it's your turn, Cliffo. I've got a fact or fiction for you. 3 of the top 4 men's spots for the main event in Bendigo, the final series, they're locked in. Fact or fiction?
Yeah, good one, Kate. I think it's fast becoming fact with Perth having such a hot start to this campaign. Orch, you've tipped New South Wales Pride not to lose a game, and I've tipped Brisbane to win the title, and all 3 of those franchises have started really, really well. And while I'm not sure how the main event in Bendigo will play out specifically, I reckon the athletes for those 3 franchises could start giving their bosses a call and saying that they'll need a few days off in mid-November. It does leave that 4th spot wide open, though. And with Tassie's game against the Chill this Thursday night, it's almost worth double for whoever can get the biscuits in that game. So, yeah, fact for me there, Kate. Orch, you must surely be eating humble pie about the Perth Thundersticks men, though. Fact or fiction?
Look, probably being asked more often than not in my inbox at the moment. I put up a poll on Instagram the other week to ask if Perth were pretenders or contenders. Contenders won out, but it wasn't as one-sided as I maybe thought. And the interesting part, as I've said before, I can see who votes. So it's very interesting to see where all those votes are coming from. Look, nice try, Cliffo, but it's fiction for now. I believe, as I said, they can't win the Hockey One League title, and right now I stand by that. Look, they're 3-0. They're top of the table. Their form lines probably don't really stack up to what maybe a 3-0 scoreline looks like. They beat the Adelaide Fire in round 1. I think most teams will do that. They knocked off Hockey Club Melbourne in round 2. We know they're all at sea at the moment. And they beat a Brisbane Blaze side last week who were missing their 3 best players in Jake Wetton, Tim Howard and Daniel Beale. Now, I know Perth were missing good players as well, and I'll give them a bit of credit where credit's due. You can only beat what's in front of you. I have been glowing in my praise of some of their younger guys. I reckon Brodie Foster and Cam Geddes are very talented. I think their top-end talent, the likes of Zalewski, Tom Wickham, Jake Harvey, are very good as well. I love the acquisition of Matty Willis, a former New South Wales guy playing over there. He's a real pro and he's very reliable. I think he's added something good to their side. They've got a good goalkeeper or a pair of goalkeepers in Ben Rennie and Tyler Lovell. And they've got a pretty good corner battery as well. So, look, I never thought that they wouldn't be in Bendigo for the main event, but I said they can't win the comp. I'm standing by it. And this weekend, I reckon, is going to be a great test for them. They play the New South Wales Pride in Sydney. Flynn Ogilvie comes back into the side for his first game of the season. As I said last week, Brisbane, they haven't quite got their continuity together yet. And I'm really interested to see how the Perth Thunder Six go this week. Unless they win the whole thing, that humble pie will remain untouched, Cliffo. That's fact or fiction this week. Now, as you're watching the Sultana Brand Hockey One League this week, you might notice that some of our younger stars are absent. That's because the men, the best and brightest under-21 talent, they've headed off to Malaysia for the Sultan of Johor Cup. So that'll be played over the next couple of weeks. We'll certainly miss them for the next couple of rounds. But we thought, what better time to target and highlight some of our better rising stars in the Sultana Brand Hockey One League this year. And Cliffo, you're going to kick us off with a Blaze youngster who's caught your eye.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going to be more popular in 2024, guys. Tickets to a Blink-182 reunion concert or tickets to see Jaden Atkinson play. He was absolutely instrumental in their game against the Perth Thundersticks, and it was a case of no wet and no bills and no worries from a midfield point of view. Now, we know he has some of the sharpest close-in skills that you're going to see and a great ability to eliminate players in tight, sort of high-pressure situations. But I love this clip here from Jaden. With the game locked at 2-2, he closes the player down, absolutely picks their pocket and then launches an attack. But he still has the composure to not rush, commit the defender and throw a little jink pass to Kramer, whose audacious upright reverse, if you don't mind, saw the Blaze nearly steal the game. But I love the initiative from this bloke who was getting sick of Corey Weir throwing bombs over his head all game and said, look, game's on the line, I need to get involved. And dare I say it, Kate, but there was a little bit of Simon Orchard in that clip as well. What do you reckon?
I reckon so too. Yeah, definitely. I love this play. Good call, Cliffo. This was one of my standouts for the weekend too. And the way that he passes the ball, as you say, with that little jink, he could have shot it himself. He didn't. Great team play.
And the other one I've got an eye on, Orch, in the women's game is young Maddie Brooks. So I've dubbed her the next Eddie Okinen of Tasmanian hockey down here, and I've got huge raps on her. We all played with a young guy called Desmond Abbott that dominated under 15s when he was 14. Well, Maddie Brooks won the player of the tournament at under 15 level 3 years in a row. She only turned 18 2 weeks ago. She can play on any line, has already got 2 goals to her name against the Brisbane Blaze. I reckon she's an absolute champion of the future.
Nice, mate. Like it. Like the comparison. Scotty, who's editing, you can just snip in a few of my highlights there if you like, mate. Aaron Zalewski style. That's how we roll on this show.
What's the question? Got the ball? No free hit. You call stick shield. You call free hit against. I got the ball. He stick shielded me. All right.
It may not be referred.
So just
stay with your original decision.
I'm still thinking about the Blink-182 reunion concert. I still don't have my shoes from when I went to their gig about 12 years ago. They're on the floor of the Newcastle Entertainment Centre somewhere. So there you go. Kate, look, you've been high on Grace Young since day one. You got in at the ground floor as well as Hannah Cullen-Sanders. They're your 2 girls. Now, tell us a bit about her because she's been pretty good so far, hasn't she?
Yeah, so Cliffo just mentioned Maddie Brooks, player of the tournament in under-21s. Okay, she may have got it in previous years, Cliffo, but Grace Young is right here, right now. She won it this year in 2022. I said it during the first round of the shootout. She has huge impact. She creates chances. She controls the field like she's a much more experienced player than she is. She's only 21 years old, you know. She played centre midfield for the New South Wales Pride, and she was alongside people like Mariah Williams, Greta Hayes, these hockey roos. She's holding her ground, and she looks like a potential leader in the team. The way she carries the ball with speed, she's got her eyes up. She's terrifying to defenders. They don't know which way to go. They don't know how to handle her. Go in and tackle and likely be beaten, or prop and channel her as she eats up the meters. She's crazy. And then I noticed also she took 10 minutes on the penalty seat, unfortunately. And when that happened on the weekend, the whole New South Wales attack seemed lost. She came back on, structure was back, and they ended up winning the game. So I just think she's amazing. everyone probably knows my love for Grace Young, so I don't need to explain it more. But the other guy I'm looking at is Mr. Hollywood. He caught my eye this weekend. Obviously, that unbelievable goal. He's only 20 years old. Looked up his stats. He's been playing in under 21 since he was 17. He's got really great skills. He's a goal-scoring machine. He scored 5 goals in 6 matches in under 21s this year. So he's just got a knack for finding the net. It's something that's really hard to coach, that type of goal sense and being able to beat the keeper in high-pressure situations. And Holland seems to have an innate sense for it. So they're my 2 rising stars.
And it was early on in the season that I think Cliffo and I exchanged a message about a young Craig Victory, potentially. I know we love throwing our comparisons out there, but it's a good way for people of yesteryear to think, oh, yeah, I remember Jig. He was a wonderful striker as well. And maybe it's the blonde hair, Cliffo, just flowing around at the moment for Jackie.
Oh, he's just an excitement machine, much like Jig was, and hangs high, and anything can happen in that attacking 25. Yeah, very exciting.
I'll wrap us up, guys, with a pair of rising stars. Look, it's been a pretty glum year for Hockey Club Melbourne, but I think Cooper Burns has been one of the guys, a rare bright spot, I guess, for what has been a pretty forgettable campaign so far. He's just got something. I reckon that's what we're all sort of looking for. Just maybe a play here, a little addition to the game there. Physically, he looks the part. He looks big and quick and strong. We know he's a goal scorer from what he's done in his local leagues, and he's on the board already in the Hockey One League. This piece of play from the weekend but caught my eye and showed that he's got a little bit of X factor. So you can see he's working the ball around the baseline. Look at this craft, the ability to get the ball up in the air, use his 3D skills and carry it into the circle to create a penalty corner for his side. This is really hard to do. That's why not many other people do it. We haven't seen a lot of great exponents of the 3D skill in the Sultana Brand Hockey One League so far, but it's something that a lot of the best players around the world have in their kit bag. For him to have the poise and the skill and the timing to lift and carry this ball and create something basically out of nothing tells me that he could be one to follow. My other one, Evie Dalton. A lot of love for the Tassie Tigers. Look, goalkeeper down there, still only 20 years of age. We saw what she did in the opening round to knock off the Brisbane Blaze. I just think a couple of months ago, we probably looked at the goalkeeping stocks around Australia and thought, well, who is the next Rachel Lynch? Where are we going to get this next phenomenal talent from? All of a sudden, we've got goalkeepers coming out of our ears. We've got the likes of Joss Bartram and Alicia Power, who are the incumbents for the Australian side. We've got Evie Dalton. We saw Renee Hunter play really well for the Canberra Chill. So, as I said, all of a sudden we've gone from looking at a cupboard that wasn't bare, but we were starting to question, where's this next talent going to come from? And now we've got goalkeepers coming out the yin-yang. So, for Evie Dalton, the Tassie Tigers have taken great strides already this year. I know Luke Dorner's down there doing a wonderful job with them, so hopefully she can continue on her shooting star path. They're some of our rising stars. Make sure you keep an eye on them in the Sultana Brand Hockey One League. Round 4 of the Sultana Brand Hockey One League action takes flight on Thursday night. Boy, it's going to be cold down in Tassie when the Tigers host the Chill. Action underway at 6:30 p.m. local time. Both games will be on Fox Sports and KO. And Cliffo, you'll be on the ground, I imagine, freezing your Royal Rastafarian nays off. Before you tell us what excites you most, mate, these little symbols are our tips. So this is who we're tipping, both men's and women's. But Cliffo, what excites you most, mate, about the Chill heading down to Tassie?
Thanks, Orch. I've been looking in the mail every day waiting for my jacket to arrive, but these 2 games look absolute rippers for opening the 4th round. The men's game looks unmissable with the Chill's emerging stars and their fantastic press last week, coming up against a clinical Tigers side that hasn't conceded a goal for 6 whole quarters, and now they welcome back Jack Welch to bolster their forward line. In the women's, it's another beauty, and if you go back through history, guys, Naomi Evans for the Canberra Chill just loves playing against Tassie. 2019, Canberra win 2-1, Naomi scores and converts. 2018, they win 3-0, and guess who scored? Naomi Evans. And finally, in 2016, 4-0 to Canberra, and you guessed it, Naomi Evans opened the scoring in the 2nd minute. So it's really simple for Luke Dorner. Stop Naomi, and Tigers might roar. Orch.
There you go, Naomi Evans, head of the snake. On Friday night, 2 big games in Sydney with the New South Wales Pride welcoming the Perth Thundersticks. Look, all 4 teams seemingly semi-final bound. Kate, what revs your engine about these fixtures?
I am revved up. This New South Wales side are looking hot. Obviously, they've got their first home game this weekend. So Sydney Olympic Park's going to be packed out. This is the blockbuster between the men's teams. Really a preview to the finals, as you say. Flynn Ogilvy's back. These are the 2 most dominant forces in the competition. There can only be one winner. It's blockbuster stuff. Don't miss it. Then on the women's side, again, two really strong teams. Both have one loss. I think the New South Wales side, the first loss was a result of a lack of preparation. I think they're really going to find their groove as the season progresses. They've had some training sessions together. They've gelled much better this weekend. They've got Grace Young. I think New South Wales by a goal.
There you go. Our tips, as always, on the side here. And I think it's interesting, the crowds that show up in Sydney. We've seen wonderful crowds all around Sultana Brand Hockey One League. I think in excess of 12,000 fans so far have come through the gate. So Sydney, get out there and support your team. Finally, on Saturday night, round 4 finishes with the Brisbane Blaze hosting Hockey Club Melbourne. Look, I think we're all a little bit similar. Maybe, Kate, you've lent with the Blaze women. I guess that's the big question. Can they continue to build some momentum? Can anyone stop Amy Lawton? On the men's side, we'll finally see a full-strength Blaze lineup, I think, for the first time this season. And how can Hockey Club Melbourne respond after some home truths from coach Lockie Anderson after the game last week? Time will tell, but make sure you tune in, get involved online with the Hockey One socials if you can. That's all from us at the Shootout this week. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Cliffo. And thanks to everyone watching at home. Till next time, hooroo.